Okay, guys, so this video is going to show you how to find the standard deviation for a set of group data. Okay, so this data right here that you see on your screen represents the number of cars per household, and there was a survey that went out. Okay, what you're going to be able to see is that you're going to have 3 households that have 0 cars, 15 households that have 1 car, etc. Okay, so with that being said, if I was talking about the number of households that are included in this survey, it would be 3 plus 15 plus 24 plus 8. Okay, and that comes out to be a total of 50 households. We have to reformat this data though. Okay, so in order to reformat this data to demonstrate this group data, we're going to have to throw it into a frequency distribution. Okay, so if you check it out on the other side, I'm going to set up a table. Okay, and my table will have the values. Okay, and the values that we're going to have are going to be 0 cars, 1 car, 2 cars, and 3 cars. Okay, and next to that, you're going to put the frequency, or how many households had that value. So there were 3 households that had that. There were 15 households that had 1 car in its household. You had 24 and then 8. Okay. Now, with that being said, we don't have to pay attention to the image anymore. What we want to do is we want to go through and find what the standard deviation is. Okay. So in order to do that, we have to start filling out our graph. Okay. So now, with that being said, we have to determine what the mean is for this data. Okay, we did this earlier in this chapter in section 2.1. In order to find the mean of the data, we have to go figure out what the products of the values and the frequencies are. So we do x times f in this column. It's going to be 0 times 3, 1 times 15, 2 times 24, and 3 times 8. To find out what the average is, or the mean, we do the sum of this column. This sum comes out to be 87. And we have to divide it by the sum of the frequencies, which was 50. So the average for our frequency distribution is going to be 87 over 50, which is equal to 1.7. Okay. Now, we need to use this to find our deviations. Okay? So the columns that I'm going to set up are going to be the deviations. Okay? Once we have those deviations, we then square those deviations. After we do that, these deviations are for each row, but remember, the frequency means that there's 3 zeros in this data set. There's 15 ones. So we're going to take those deviations and multiply them by the frequencies. Now, to finish this off, you're going to see our table is now filled in. So you have the deviations, which are your x minus 1.7, your 1 minus 1.7, and so forth. So if I take the blue and I subtract this mean, I'm going to get this red right here. The next column are the squares of these numbers. So negative 1.7 times itself is 2.89. Remember, this whole column will be positive. Then finally, we take these deviation squares and we multiply them by the f. 3 times 2.89 is this. Okay. Now, for us to finish this off, the standard deviation will be the square root of the sum of this column. The sum of this column comes out to be 31.7. So I'm going to do 31.7, and I'm going to divide it by n minus 1. N is the number, or the number of frequencies. Okay, the total number. So it's going to be n, which is 50, minus 1, which gives me 49. So my standard deviation at that point will be about 0.80. Okay? That's how you find the standard deviation for group data.